I want to start with I'm going to answer all the things I'm answering today in the podcast come from questions directly from the audience. This is one I've been getting drilled with quite a bit lately, so I want to answer it. Advice for digital content. So one of the things that we want to encourage people is you should be producing content. Okay. It doesn't have to be on YouTube. You don't have to be shooting videos. Okay. You can be producing visual content for LinkedIn. You could be producing memes. You could be just tweeting little nuggets of information on Twitter, but you need to be producing content, professional content centered around your expertise. Okay. We really encourage that. Okay. For many reasons, but I want to talk about advice for digital content, specifically centered around shooting videos. I want to encourage people who have not got involved in shooting content, or if you are shooting content and you're not applying these principles, stop wasting your time and apply these principles. Okay. Because these are the things we've learned by going through this process. So number one, shooting your content, you need to define what your values and mission are from day one. Zach, real quick, talk about, you had a 15-minute, or you had a call with a guy who does IT recruiting, who's started doing content, and you were advising him on the digital media. Why don't you talk about that conversation?
Yeah. So it was really short. It was a 15-minute call. He was going into it kind of looking for advice on how to create content, or, probably around YouTube or LinkedIn. And the call went in a completely different, and it's actually MES recruitment, manufacturing IT recruitment professional. And he has his own company, and he was looking into he's trying to grow it, and he's looking into getting into more content and stuff. So he's asking me, and I think he was looking probably more for like tactical stuff, but I really went back to, I asked him so what is your values, or what is your mission, and he's like, well, I could probably think of some corporate jargon. And I'm like, yeah, but fuck that shit. What do you actually what actually matters to you? And he's like, well, when I make a placement and that individual goes on to be successful over the course of many years, 3, 4, 5 years, I feel good about that. And so I said, okay. So then when an industry 3.0 recruiter, or, someone out there doing it wrong, who's just in it for the sale, that should really bother you deeply. And he's like, yeah, and he's like, so then by educating, he's like, hey, I want to create, he's like, I created this LinkedIn group for, manufacturing IT professionals. I'm like, dude, you shouldn't be leading that group. Honestly, you're not qualified to lead that group.
Right. You're not qualified.
I mean, you talked about joining Mastermind to learn more of the architecture and how to speak with his customers. And I think that was a good idea, but I wasn't trying to sell him that. I was just trying to advise him. And I'm like, dude, you shouldn't be leading that group. You should be leading the IT recruitment professional group and be educating who would ostensibly be your competitors. And you'll be doing, I'm like, that's exactly what we did when we were marketing Intellig. We taught other integrators and other end users exactly what we would do. And that grew into what is now a 4.0 solutions community. Just copy that playbook, and he's like, yeah, but those are my competitors. I'm like, but whether you help an individual directly make a good placement, or you help them indirectly through helping your competitors make a good placement,
you're serving your values and mission.
You're going to make a bigger impact. And he's like, yeah, I guess I could see that. And he's like, and then also if I'm educating them, I'm always one step ahead of where they're at. And I'm like, there you go. Now you're thinking. And so he's like, wow, this went in a completely different direction than I thought, but I could see the value of this. I got to go for a walk and digest all this. And in that 15-minute call, I hope that he really understood what it was I was getting to, because that's really the core of our success.
It all starts with values and mission. The only people I worry about, the only companies I worry about, are companies that don't share my values and aren't interested in what our mission is. So, one of the big fears I have is that there would be, there are good integrators out there and there are bad integrators. If anyone wants to know the integrators you should stay away from, go ahead and give me a call and I'll just tell you who they are. I don't want to bash people publicly unless I'm going to give them an opportunity to come on here and defend themselves. Okay. But there are definitely integrators who are held up in high regard that I wouldn't touch with a 500-foot fucking pole. I can tell you that right now. I've worked with them. There's one integrator that I shared a module with. I told this story before. We put a little piece of code in a module that would tell us if the module got decompiled. And this other integrator asked for a copy of our module. And I mean, I'm telling you, not even fucking 15 minutes after they had it, I got the email notification that they had tried to decompile the module to see our source code. Right. And I told a partner about this. I called them and I said, I mean, we kind of expected they would do it. And there are a bunch of integrators out there who do not give a shit about their customers at all.
The funny part was
not at all. I mean,
there's been companies that have asked and you would send them the source code.
Yeah. If they had just asked for the source code, I would have sent it, but I want to know what their values are. I want to know, character is who you are when no one's watching. Right. And I believe good character is what, it will, especially in this economy, in the new economy that we have, the economy of principled capitalism. If you are not principled, you're going to die. Here's a really good example. Jeff Bezos, the difference between Bezos and Elon Musk. Elon Musk is a principled capitalist. He doesn't give a shit about the money at all. He's never going to build a 500-foot yacht. Okay. He wants to save humanity. Jeff Bezos cares about the money. And he's just a pure capitalist. Here's really good evidence. Let's talk about inflation here real quick. By the way, for those of you who are going to bash me, okay, about what I'm about to say, please save it. Okay. I've done my homework. You're going to lose the debate. So please don't bash me here. Okay. Because I'm right. I'll have the debate with you if you want to, but I'm right here. Bezos is making the argument that raising taxes does not lower inflation, doesn't decrease inflation. That's simply not true. Okay. All taxes is government taking back money they printed. If you print money, you create inflation if population growth is not commensurate with the money you printed. And if you take that money back in the form of taxes, you are reducing the money supply, which in point of fact will lower inflation, assuming population doesn't grow and demand stays relatively stable. That being said, I don't think the answer to our inflationary problems are raising taxes. But when Jeff Bezos has been tweeting over the last few days that raising taxes is not going to lower inflation, he is wrong. He is just even Thomas Sowell, who is a highly conservative economist, would argue is going to make the argument it's certainly going to decrease inflation, but that's not the best way to do it.
How so, though?
Jeff Bezos is saying, well, because it reduces money in the supply. Okay, it reduces money in the money supply.
But doesn't the government still? Isn't that money?
They pay down the debt with it. So they take the additional receipts, pay down the debt, and that's the way of reducing the money supply. So yes, but we're not going to have a political discussion about it. But what's important to note is Bezos said that not because he doesn't know that that's true. Bezos said that because he wants, he's money motivated. Okay. I think it's totally moral to be money motivated, but I think it's a self-defeating prophecy to be money motivated. I believe that if you focus on value first, put as much value into the world as you possibly can, you will get back that value in spades. Okay. The value you get, that is the money that goes into your bank account, and that is directly tied to the value you put into the world. And yeah, you can trick people with smoke and mirrors for a short period of time. And believe me, there are a lot of people out there who do that. That's the short game. That doesn't play out over the long term. Okay. A couple other things on digital content. If you're going to shoot digital content, start with values and mission. Number 2, this is the one most people are not comfortable with. Soft skills and painful truth are mutually exclusive. Don't worry about soft skills shooting your media. Okay. Controversy is good. Okay. Controversy starts the conversation. Okay. It doesn't mean be a jerk for the sake of being a jerk, but if you have to say something that's unpopular, say it, and don't try to do it in a way where you're using soft skills. Okay. To do it. Dale Carnegie's philosophies of how to win friends and influence people, or Jim Collins's philosophies on good to great, are all bullshit and do not apply today. Okay. They're bullshit. Okay. Soft skills. Let me say this. Soft skills are tools that are used to control people with no power. Okay. The greatest ideas need to win. And as long as you remain civil, That doesn't mean, soft skills are all about being kind and worrying about people's feelings and being empathetic. As long as you are not being cruel, then just say it the way it is when you're shooting content, and just make sure you can back up what you're saying. Okay. Number 3, when you're shooting digital media, say the things that other people think. Okay. But expand on those thoughts with proposed solutions. Okay. That creates a moth to a flame. Your audience will build based on those common beliefs, common observations, but the value you're providing are your proposed solutions to those things that everyone already thinks. Number 4, always ask 3 questions whenever you produce content. Number 1, what message do I want to convey? Number 2, what will the audience take away? Number 3, what will the audience say the value was? Don't fucking sell. Don't shoot commercials. Okay. Don't shoot commercials. Okay. And number 5, most important, be yourself. Authenticity is the key. Okay. Don't be someone you are not. Okay. I assure you, if you have a private meeting with me after one of these videos, I am literally the exact same person in real life as I am when we're shooting content. There's no difference. There's absolutely no difference whatsoever. Okay. This is the authentic me, for better or for worse. And believe me, there are many people on my team, many times, who have said to me, who have been very uncomfortable with things I said in a video, and they're worried about what the backlash might be. And I've said, listen, I have to stay authentic. And it was the truth. So I'm willing to live with that. If the worst thing anyone ever says about me is that I'm a dick, I can live with that. Now, if someone says I'm a shitty engineer, a terrible leader, a bad person, I'm selfish, if they were to say those things, I'd be devastated. But if they said I'm the worst thing anyone's ever going to say about me is I'm an insensitive dick, I can live with that. All right.